Zara Vex had 3 rules for surviving as a salvage operator in the Cath-Ran war zone. First, never trust a distress beacon. Second, if something looks too good to be true, it probably wants to eat you. Third, and most importantly, never, ever, under any circumstances, pick up hitchhikers. Which is exactly why she was now staring at a human floating in a busted escape pod, wondering how her life had gone so spectacularly wrong. "This is just perfect," she muttered, maneuvering her salvage ship closer to the debris field. The human's pod was practically held together with hope and duct tape, drifting lazily between the twisted remains of what used to be a Cath-Ran destroyer. Of all the species in the galaxy, I find the one everyone says is dangerous. The human inside the pod appeared to be unconscious, which was probably for the best. Zara had heard stories about humans. They were supposedly primitive, but every spacer worth their salt knew the warnings. Don't mess with humans. They're unpredictable. They do things that don't make sense. They have this weird thing called emotions that override basic survival instincts. The computer scanned the pod for life signs, she said, already knowing she was going to regret this decision. 1 human life form detected. Vital signs stable. Pod life support failing. Zara drummed her claws on the control panel. The smart thing would be to report the location to the nearest authority and let them deal with it. But the nearest authority was about 3 days away, and the pod's life support wouldn't last 3 hours. "Damn it," she growled, engaging the tractor beam. "I'm going to die because I have a conscience." The pod settled into her cargo bay with a gentle thud. Zara sealed the bay and pressurized it, then reluctantly made her way down to meet her new passenger. The human was just waking up as she arrived, blinking in the harsh cargo bay lights. "Oh, hey there," the human said, as casually as if he'd just woken up from a nap on a beach instead of nearly dying in the vacuum of space. "Thanks for the pickup. I'm Tommy Martinez." Zara stared at him. This was not how she'd imagined first contact with a human would go. "You're welcome," she said uncertainly. "I'm Zara Vex. You were about to die." Tommy stretched and looked around the cargo bay with mild interest. "Yeah, that would have been inconvenient. My mom would have been so mad if I'd died out here." "Your mother would have been mad?" "Oh, absolutely. She's always telling us to be careful when we're working. Don't take unnecessary risks, Tommy. Don't get yourself killed in some random war zone, Tommy. You know how mothers are." Zara did not, in fact, know how mothers were, but she was beginning to suspect that human mothers were probably terrifying. "What were you doing out here anyway?" she asked. "This is a war zone." Tommy shrugged. "Just doing some light reconnaissance for Earth. Nothing major. Got a little too close to some unfriendly fire, had to bail out of my ship." He paused. "Actually, do you have any snacks? I'm starving." "No." Zara led Tommy to her ship's small galley, still trying to process the situation. "Reconnaissance? Earth sent humans to do reconnaissance in active war zones?" That seemed like a spectacularly bad idea, even by human standards. "So," she said, handing him a protein bar that was technically edible by most carbon-based life forms, "when you say reconnaissance." "Oh, you know," Tommy said, taking a bite and making a face. "Wow, this tastes like cardboard. But yeah, just checking out what the big empires are up to. Making sure they're not planning anything stupid." "Planning anything stupid?" "All like invading Earth. Or enslaving primitive species. Or committing genocide. The usual empire stuff." Zara felt a chill run down her spine. "And Earth just sends people to check on this?" "Sure, someone has to keep an eye on things." Tommy finished the protein bar and looked hopefully at her. "You don't have anything that tastes like actual food, do you?" Before Zara could answer, her ship's proximity alarm started blaring. She rushed to the bridge, Tommy following behind with infuriating calm. 3 ships dropping out of hyperspace, she announced, checking her sensors. Dominion design. Big ones. Huh, Tommy said, looking over her shoulder at the display. That's Admiral Krex's flagship. I recognize the energy signature. You know Dominion admirals by their energy signatures? Just the important ones. Krex is kind of a jerk. The communication system crackled to life. Salvage vessel. This is Admiral Krex of the Dominion Third Fleet. You will surrender the human immediately. Zara looked at Tommy, who was now examining her navigation charts with casual interest. They want you. Yeah, Krex and I have history. He's still mad about the whole Epsilon Station thing. What happened at Epsilon Station? I may have accidentally exposed his illegal weapons trafficking operation to the Galactic Council. In my defense, he was being really obvious about it. Admiral Krex's voice boomed through the comm again. You have 30 seconds to comply before we open fire. That seems unreasonable, Tommy said mildly. 30 seconds isn't very long. Zara stared at him. They're going to kill us. Probably. Krex isn't known for his mercy. Or his intelligence, really. He's more of a shoot first, ask questions later kind of guy. And you're not concerned about this? Tommy shrugged. These things have a way of working themselves out. The Dominion ships moved into attack formation, their weapons powering up. Zara had seen Dominion cruisers in action before. They could turn her little salvage ship into vapor in seconds. Salvage vessel, you are out of time. Prepare to be boarded. Well, Tommy said, settling into the co-pilot's chair, this should be interesting. Interesting. Zara's voice cracked. We're about to be captured by one of the most ruthless admirals in the Dominion fleet, and you think it's interesting? Krex always did have terrible timing, Tommy said. He's probably going to regret this. The Dominion boarding party was efficient, professional, and completely unnecessary. Zara's ship wasn't exactly built for combat, and she'd surrendered the moment they'd locked weapons on her. Still, they'd sent a full squad of armored Marines, as if she and Tommy were some kind of threat. Admiral Krex himself had come aboard, which struck Zara as overkill. He was a typical Dominion officer, tall, imposing, with the kind of arrogance that came from commanding a fleet of warships. His uniform was pristine, his medals were polished, and his sneer was practiced. So, he said, looking Tommy up and down, the infamous human spy. I prefer reconnaissance specialist, Tommy said cheerfully. Spy sounds so dramatic. Krex backhanded him across the face. Tommy's head snapped to the side, but he just worked his jaw and smiled. Still got that temper, I see, Tommy said. You should really work on that. It's going to get you in trouble someday. The only one in trouble here is you, human. You and your species have been poking around in Dominion space for months. Did you really think we wouldn't notice? Oh, we knew you'd notice eventually. You're not completely incompetent. Krex hit him again, harder this time. Zara winced, but Tommy just spat blood and kept smiling. You know what I love about you Dominion types? Tommy said. You're so predictable. Violence is always your first response. It's like you can't conceive of any other way to solve problems. Silence. Krex roared. You will tell me everything about Earth's spy network, or I will execute you and your rescuer as an example to the rest of the galaxy. That seems like a bad idea, Tommy said. Does it? Who's going to stop me? Your primitive little planet? Earth doesn't even have a proper military. Tommy laughed. Actually laughed. Oh, Admiral, you really haven't been paying attention, have you? Krex's face darkened. You find your impending death amusing? I find your ignorance amusing. But hey, before you execute me, could I send one quick message home? Just to let my family know what happened. It's only polite. Krex considered this. So they can know their precious spy died screaming. Something like that. Very well. One message. My communications officer will monitor every word. Tommy smiled. Thanks, you're a real pal. They dragged him to the communications console. Krex's officers clustered around, ready to intercept any coded messages or secret intelligence. Tommy cleared his throat and activated the transmitter. Hey Mom, he said, his voice casual and relaxed. Hope you're doing well. I'm in a bit of a situation out here. Got picked up by Admiral Krex and his boys. They're planning to execute me in a few hours. Could use a pickup when you get a chance. Love you. He closed the channel and turned to Krex with a smile. There, all done. Krex stared at him. That's it? That's your final message? What were you expecting? State secrets. Military codes? I just wanted to let my mom know I was running late for dinner. Your mother. Duh. She worries. Me. Krex's communications officer suddenly looked up from his console, his face pale. Admiral, we're detecting massive energy signatures approaching our position. What kind of energy signatures? Hyperspace distortions. Multiple contacts. Big ones. Krex frowned. How many? The officer's voice was barely a whisper. Hundreds, sir. More. The first ship to drop out of hyperspace was the size of a small moon. Zara watched through the viewport as it materialized in a flash of twisted light and folded space, its hull stretching for kilometers in every direction. It was followed by another, then another, until the space around them was filled with ships that dwarfed the Dominion fleet. What the hell is that? Krex demanded. The Earth Defense Fleet, Tommy said proudly. Isn't she beautiful? That's the Indomitable, my sister's ship. The communications console crackled to life. This is Captain Sarah Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Fleet. We're here for Tommy Martinez. Release him immediately. Krex's jaw dropped. Sister? Yeah, Sarah's the oldest. She's always been a bit overprotective. Dominion vessels, Captain Rodriguez continued, her voice calm and professional. You are significantly outgunned. Stand down and release our citizen, and we'll consider this a misunderstanding. Krex looked at his tactical display, then at the massive ships surrounding his fleet. This is impossible. Earth doesn't have a military. You're a primitive species. We have intelligence reports. Your intelligence reports are garbage, Tommy said. We've been letting you think we're primitive for decades. It's easier that way. Captain Rodriguez, Krex said, activating his comm. I am Admiral Krex of the Dominion Third Fleet. Your brother is a spy who has been operating illegally in our territory. My brother is an idiot who can't stay out of trouble, Rodriguez replied. But he's our idiot. And Earth has a very simple policy regarding our citizens. Which is, touch one of ours, and we'll dismantle your entire civilization piece by piece. We've had to explain this to 17 different species so far. Apparently the message isn't getting through. Zara watched the tactical display as more Earth ships continued to arrive. The Dominion fleet, which had seemed so imposing just minutes ago, now looked like a collection of toys. This is insane, Krex muttered. How long have you been building this fleet? Oh, about a century, Tommy said. Maybe longer. Mom would know. She's in charge of military procurement. Your mother is in charge of military procurement? She's very organized. You should see her grocery lists. Captain Rodriguez's voice cut through the calm chatter. Admiral Krex, you have 60 seconds to release Tommy and the civilian he's with. After that, we start reducing your fleet to scrap metal." "You wouldn't dare," Krex said. "The Dominion has thousands of ships. This is just one battle group." "Admiral," Rodriguez said, and there was something in her voice that made Zara's blood run cold. "We've been monitoring your communications. We know exactly where every Dominion ship is located. We know your patrol routes, your supply lines, and your command structure. We could end your empire in a week if we wanted to." "Then why haven't you?" "Because we're not conquerors, we're defenders. But if you hurt Tommy, I'll make an exception." Krex looked around his bridge, at his officers, at his tactical displays showing the overwhelming force arrayed against him. "This is impossible. You're bluffing." 30 seconds, Admiral. Tommy sighed. "You know, Sarah really doesn't like it when people don't take her seriously. She's got this whole complex about being the responsible one." The Dominion reinforcements arrived exactly on schedule, dropping out of hyperspace in perfect formation. 50 ships, including 2 dreadnoughts and a carrier group. It was an impressive display of military might, the kind of force that could conquer star systems. It was also completely inadequate. "Well," Tommy said, watching the new arrivals on the tactical display, "this is awkward." Captain Rodriguez's voice came through the comm, sounding mildly annoyed. "Admiral Krex, did you just call for backup?" That is," Krex stammered. "Because I specifically told you not to escalate this situation. Now, I have to make an example, and frankly, I was hoping to avoid the paperwork." "Sarah hates paperwork," Tommy explained to Zara. "She says it's worse than combat." The Earth ships moved with a precision that was almost supernatural. They didn't rush into battle or fire wild volleys. Instead, they positioned themselves with mathematical exactness, creating overlapping fields of fire that would have made a master tactician weep with joy. "Dominion fleet," Rodriguez announced, "you are ordered to stand down immediately. This is your final warning." The Dominion admiral commanding the reinforcements apparently hadn't gotten the memo about Earth's military capabilities. "Unknown vessels, you are outnumbered and outgunned. Surrender now or be destroyed." There was a pause. Then Rodriguez sighed. "Tommy, your rescue is officially classified as a combat operation. I'm putting it on your permanent record." "Aw, come on, Sarah, that's not fair." "You got captured by Krex." "Krex? The man once lost a battle to a cargo freighter." "That was a really well-armed cargo freighter." The Earth ships opened fire. Zara had seen fleet battles before. She'd witnessed the Kethran War, the Siege of Proxima, and the Battle of the Void Gates. She thought she understood space combat. She was wrong. The Earth weapons didn't just destroy the Dominion ships. They surgically dismantled them, targeting specific systems with impossible accuracy. Engines went offline. Weapons systems shut down. Life support remained functional, but everything else simply stopped working. In less than 10 minutes, the entire Dominion fleet was dead in space. "That was beautiful," Tommy said, clapping his hands. "Sarah, you've been practicing." "We've had a lot of practice lately," Rodriguez replied. 17 different species, remember? "Man. Man." Some of them were slower learners than others. Admiral Krex stood in the middle of his bridge, staring at the tactical display in shock. His flagship was the only ship still fully operational, and that was clearly a deliberate choice. "This is impossible," he whispered. "We're the Dominion. We rule half the galaxy." "Correction," Rodriguez said. "You ruled half the galaxy." Past tense. "As of today, you're under the protection of the Terran hegemony." "Congratulations, Admiral. You've just become our problem." "Terran hegemony?" Zara asked. "It's what we call ourselves when we're being official," Tommy explained. Sounds more impressive than that group of humans who got tired of everyone else's nonsense. Krex's shoulders sagged. What do you want from us? Nothing complicated. Stop enslaving people. Stop committing genocide. Stop invading your neighbors. Basic civilization stuff. And if we refuse, then we'll find someone else to run your territory. Trust me, Admiral, there are plenty of species who would love the opportunity. Krex looked around his ruined fleet, at the Earth ships that had appeared from nowhere and ended his career in minutes. I surrender. Smart choice, Rodriguez said. Tommy, get back to your ship. Dinner's in 3 hours, and you know how Mom gets when we're late. Tommy packed his few belongings with the same casual efficiency he'd shown throughout the entire crisis. Watching him, Zara realized that nothing about this situation had surprised him. Not the rescue, not the battle, not even his sister's arrival with a fleet that could level planets. You knew this would happen, she said. I knew something would happen. Sarah's been tracking my position since I left Earth. She always does when we're working in hostile territory. Working? Reconnaissance, remember? Though I guess the secret's out now. He shrugged. Probably for the best. The whole primitive species act was getting old. Captain Rodriguez materialized in the cargo bay, her image projected by some kind of advanced holographic system. She was shorter than Zara had expected, with graying hair and laugh lines around her eyes. She looked more like someone's favorite aunt than the commander of a fleet that had just redefined galactic politics. Tommy, she said, shaking her head, you're an idiot. I love you too, Sarah. And you must be Zara Vex, Rodriguez said, turning to face her. Thank you for rescuing our wayward brother. Earth doesn't forget its friends. I was just doing what anyone would do, Zara said weakly. No, you weren't. You risked your life for a stranger from a species you'd been warned about. That takes character. Rodriguez smiled. We could use people like you in the Galactic Protection Services. The what? Well, think of it as a job opportunity. We're expanding our operations and we need good people who understand the galaxy beyond Earth. The pay is excellent, the benefits are comprehensive, and you'll be working for the only organization that's actually trying to make things better. Zara looked at Tommy, who was grinning at her. You planned this too? Not exactly, but I hoped you'd be interested. You're wasted as a salvage operator, Zara. You've got good instincts and a moral compass. That's rare out here. What would I be doing? Helping us keep the peace, Rodriguez said. Believe it or not, most species are reasonable once you explain the situation properly. It's only the really stubborn ones that require a show of force. Like the Dominion? The Dominion will be fine. Admiral Krex is actually a decent administrator when he's not trying to conquer people. We'll find him a nice desk job somewhere. Zara thought about her life as a salvage operator, scraping together a living from the wreckage of other people's wars, always one step ahead of pirates and military patrols. It wasn't much of a life. What the hell, she said. I'm in. Excellent. Report to the Indomitable when you're ready. We'll have quarters prepared for you. Rodriguez's image flickered and disappeared. Tommy shouldered his pack and headed for the airlock. Tommy, Zara called after him. Your mom really runs military procurement? Oh yeah. Maria Martinez, Director of Terran Defense Logistics. She's the most terrifying woman in the galaxy. You should meet her sometime. More terrifying than your sister? Sarah commands the fleet, Tommy said with a grin. But Mom decides what weapons they get to use. He paused at the airlock door. By the way, thanks for the rescue. I know you think you didn't have a choice, but you did. You could have left me to die. Why didn't you tell me who you were? Would you have believed me? Besides, it's more fun this way. You should have seen your face when the fleet showed up. Later, after Tommy had been transferred to his sister's ship and Zara had officially signed on with Earth's Galactic Protection Services, she found herself alone on her bridge, looking out at the stars. The Dominion fleet was already being escorted to the nearest Earth facility for processing, which apparently involved a lot of paperwork and mandatory seminars on proper governmental conduct. The war zone was quiet for the first time in months. Somewhere in the distance she could see Earth ships patrolling the shipping lanes, their presence a quiet reminder that the galaxy had new management. It was, she realized, the first time she'd felt safe in space in years. She activated her comm system and sent a message to her few friends in the salvage business: career change, a new job. Galaxy's in better hands now, we'll explain later. Then she settled back in her chair and wondered what her mother would think of her new employers. If she'd ever had a mother, that is. Zara had been hatched in a corporate breeding facility, but something told her that Maria Martinez would approve of her decision anyway. After all, she'd raised the kind of children who'd burn down empires to protect a stranger. And that, Zara thought, was the kind of family worth joining.